Good afternoon, everybody. Basically, for the last 20 years, I've been exploring home and belonging. And I do that in a lot of different ways. But recently, I went back to school and I completed a master's degree because I wanted to explore it in a little bit deeper way. The question that I had was, how is it that this proud multicultural country with 400 years of Black history has almost entirely erased Blackness from its landscape? So, for the last 12 years, I've been doing this piece. Everybody knows this piece. But it keeps on going, and I didn't expect it to live for such a long time. But I think the reason why it's had such a long lifespan is because my body is still not the body that's expected to occupy the space of real Canadian. So I've been really interested in space, and I really do believe that space is the final frontier. And so I started doing a series of walks in this area is where I started, looking at the history that dates back, and really trying to interrupt the seamless white space that's been constructed here. So at first, when I started doing these walks, Miss Canadiana was the gateway to the walks. So she would walk around in the spaces and just point out the histories that are beneath our feet all the time that nobody has read about in their history books. So she was the guide to the Black past, but there's things that Miss Canadiana could not say, and I really wanted to go deeper and to really create something that was more immersive. And so I created a piece called Hush Harbor. That was the first piece that I created using sound. I was looking for something immersive, an immersive medium, and I found sound to be the most immersive medium. Basically, what I did was use sound to write the past and future Black geographies onto the land, so that they can be experienced while walking in the spaces where the stories actually took place. I wanted to explore the complexity of Black life in Canada, in particular between 1793, when the act to limit the further importation of slaves was passed, which basically meant that no slaves could be imported, but people that were already enslaved were slaves for life. So it ensured the rights of slave owners to continue to hold their human chattel. So between 1793 and 1833, when Britain finally abolished the slave trade. So I created a story about a character named Peggy, who's based on Peggy Pompadour, who's a woman who lived right in this area, right here, actually. And she was owned by Peter Russell, who was the administrator of Upper Canada. And if you look around you, you'll see all kinds of evidence of Peter Russell. Russell Street, Peter Street, Russell Hill Drive. There's all kinds of things that are named after Peter Russell. But there's nothing that marks Peggy. So I created a story based on Peggy Pompadour, and she falls in love with a man who comes across into Canada, into freedom, and so they fall in love, but all she wants to do is leave, and all he wants to do is stay. And then next I created a piece called The Resistance of Peggy Pompadour. So this is a story that sort of deepens Peggy's story. I found out in the archive there are very little tiny bits and pieces that even talk about Peggy at all. This is an ad that Peter Russell put in the Upper Canada Gazette in 1806 when he was trying to sell Peggy and her son Jupiter. So from this, I extract every little morsel that I can. And there's another letter that he sent to a man in Windsor, in Amherstburg actually. He was trying to sell her to. When he realized he didn't want to buy her, he decided, okay, then you'll have to give me back the bill of sale, and I'm going to have to put her in jail again. And I thought, oh my God, again. So I went and looked up where this jail was, and it was right where the King Edward Hotel is now, one of the most posh landmarks that we have in the city. So, so I created a walk that basically takes a young girl who's set in this time period back into the jail cell that Peggy was in. So basically she goes there, it's her 21st birthday, she's there with her mom, she's going to be enjoying this lovely high tea, and all of a sudden she finds herself in the jail cell with Peggy. And this is the first time she's heard about, she's met Peggy, and she comes back to now, and then all she wants to do is tell this story. I'm doing a residency right now in Windsor, and this residency is basically uncovering some more Black geographies. It started because I went to Windsor and I saw a house called Bobby House. I'm walking by this house and I read the plaque in front of it, and it basically talks about this illustrious Windsor family and the importance of this family, but it doesn't mention that they were slave owners. So I am there looking at the history of the enslaved people that lived and worked in this house. And it has been met with all kinds of astonishment, well, all kinds of surprise, let's just say, because needless to say, the good people of Windsor never knew that Bobby was a slave owner. So it's been a really interesting project, and I'll be there for the next year uncovering these stories and working with the people of Windsor to uncover these stories together. Thank you.